It's GameCube Index, and I can't believe that they fit 2002 basketballs on one court. Way back in the days before 2005, the NBA 2K series wasn't published by 2K Sports, but rather by Sega. The developers, however, have stayed the same since the series' start in 1999, and it's interesting to see how Visual Concepts has grown and refined their work over the years. But enough about the journey to the modern age. Let's go back to 2002 and take a look at NBA 2K2. It's immediately evident that this is a step forward for basketball titles in the GameCube, even just based simply on the amount and variety of game modes. We can practice, jump right into a quick start game, start a tournament, play an exhibition game, play a full season or even just the playoffs, start a franchise, explore the in-depth fantasy mode, or even play some street matches. NBA 2K2 takes everything that NBA Courtside 2002 tried to be and pushed it to the next level. There's a variety of new tricks that you're able to perform, which helps increase your strategical abilities, which, trust me, you'll be using a lot. When playing offense, you'll have an interesting time both keeping control of the ball against the steal attempts of the opposing AI, but also mapping out what their strategy is shaping up to be. You can't just pass to Shaq or Tony Batty and expect them to rush it down the court because they're tall guys. It might work for a shot or two, but the defense will eventually start rushing those players and following your style in an effort to prevent you from cheesing it. Defense is pretty tough for me in any sports ball game, and this is no exception. Collision detection is sort of all over the place, and I performed numerous fouls by accident just trying to jump and block a shot. I also succeeded in stealing the ball while the opposing team was dribbling a total of one time. Of course, when the roles were flipped, the CPU managed it quite a bit on me, but that's neither here nor there. I'm willing to chalk most of it up to my lack of skills in this department rather than a weak part of the game. Now that being said, I had to make sure I was just going for those 3-point shots as much as I could, as playing defense largely just felt like babysitting the court and letting the opponent do their thing. There is a fairly substantial set of modes included with the NBA 2K2 as mentioned earlier. The fantasy mode gives you a lot of freedom in the teams you could make, and you even had the ability to create your own characters as skilled or horrifically monstrous as you wanted. Having the option to enjoy this fleshed out chunk of NBA goodness is great for basketball fans, and I know that Visual Concepts continues to refine and build on this formula each year for the series. NBA 2K2 really shines with its graphics. There's thousands of new animations meant to make a game look as realistic as it ever had before 2002, and the players certainly don't look like mannequins that got thrown onto the court. Back in the day when polygons still mattered, the title was considered lacking in this GameCube version, but it still looks pretty impressive, and more than makes up for all of it in the gameplay. On another quick note, the commentary is pretty wonderful. It's again handled by Bob Fitzgerald and Rod Brooks, the announcers that worked on the first 3 entries of the series. Nothing that they say seems out of place, and the pacing is handled well so as not to be annoying, or leave you wanting more. I usually don't play sports ball games with the commentary on, but in this case it actually helped me better understand what was going on in the game. NBA 2K2 was incredibly well received and garnered near universal acclaim, with the exception of the PS2 port. I also suppose I don't really need to mention that it received 15 sequels, with the latest arriving for current-gen consoles later this year. Now, we here at GameCube Index, however, will only revisit this series once more with NBA 2K3, as Sega began experimenting with the NBA license with the following 2 titles, and 2K Sports then purchased both Visual Concepts and the franchise, which then killed off any GameCube ports. That is it for this week's episode of GameCube Index. If you enjoy the videos every week, consider backing us on Patreon. Even $1 a month will do a lot to support the project and help improve the experience. It's entirely up to you. Either way, please continue to show your support by subscribing, sharing, following along on Twitter at GCNdex and at GCNdex.com. Thank you so much for watching. Tune in next time and join me on my first experience with Resident Evil.